Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Raising Healthy Mothers. It has been a really hot week in the UK. If you've been here, you will know. But we are now in July. We are past the midway point of the year, and this seems like the perfect time to do a bit of reflection. Now, June was a surprisingly difficult month for me, and I actually found it quite hard to show up in the way that felt good. And I have been really up and down with my mood and just everything, really. And it's actually meant that I've spent a lot of the month being quite hard on myself. And quite recently, I listened to an episode on this really great podcast that I've recently discovered called Not Your Average Runner, about resetting your year and doing a bit of reflection. Obviously, in that episode, it was about reflecting on your running journey, which for me has been non-existent this year completely. But the actual idea behind the episode really resonated with me, the idea of taking a bit of time to reflect mid-year. And I thought it was very relevant. The way she talked about going through this reset was very relevant in other areas of my life, especially since I've had quite a tricky time the last month or so. And especially for us mums who struggle so much to find time to think through what's been going on for us across the year and really thinking, well, where am I trying to get to? What is this teaching me? What am I, maybe needing to work on? Or what am I doing really well on? So I thought what I would do is borrow her concept and adapt it to this podcast, and specifically thinking about health and well-being and how we're doing as mothers. And I really think that doing this in July at this time of year is such a lovely opportunity to pause and take a moment. If you're in England, you are about to face summer holidays in about 3 or 4 weeks' time and thinking, wow, it's going to be really full on. So this is a really good time to actually spend a bit of time thinking back on the past 6 months and giving yourself a bit of grace, ready for the summer holidays and ready for the rest of the year as well. So the first thing to do is to reflect. And this is the first step that she talks about in the episode as well that I'm referring to. So reflect on your year so far. Thinking back to January, did you have any goals for your health? Did you even think about it? Did you maybe make some New Year resolutions? Did you maybe listen to my first episode of this year, that's 13.2, and it was called 8 Ways to Get Ahead of Your Energy and Health? And did you list some of the things that you wanted to change? What did you hope to do for your health and well-being this year? What have you actually done? What have you achieved? What surprised me about it? What am I proud of? Now, this is not meant to be a way to beat yourself up or to be really hard on yourself. As I said, I've been quite hard on myself this month, and it has definitely affected my mood and how I show up for myself and my family. So this is not about looking back and thinking, oh, I haven't done this or I haven't achieved this. This is about being really kind and compassionate with yourself, because things change, like especially in motherhood, day to day, week to week, month to month, things change. Our life is real. It's not something that is fictional. Like, real life happens, sickness happens, our schedules change in ways that we might not expect. Our mental health suffers. Maybe we get a bit of news that knocks us completely, and that is going to affect how you show up for the year. This is about looking at what has happened with curiosity, not criticism. And that was a lovely phrase that she used in that episode that really struck with me, because I think sometimes we can do this kind of reflection exercise and just criticize ourselves and be really hard on ourselves. It's not really about that. It's about thinking, well, maybe I had that goal, but this thing happened and I can see why that maybe got in my way. Or maybe you made more progress than you realise. Maybe it's actually worth celebrating what you've achieved over the last 6 months. Have you maybe accomplished even more than you thought, even more than beyond your goal? Or if things didn't go quite the way you expected, is it time to rework your goals, to think about doing something different, have a different plan for the rest of the year? Remember, this is just about having a think and reflecting, just gathering information. It's not something to judge or criticise yourself about. So that's step one in the system that she describes in Not Your Average Runner podcast episode that I just really resonated with me. The second step is to release. And this, I think, is really crucial. And it's quite a nice thing to do, especially at this time of year when, we might be holding on to things that might have happened in the last 6 months. So it's time to say goodbye to the things that are not helping us. And when it comes to health and nutrition and well-being, This often shows up for us online on social media. So are we following accounts on Instagram or on TikTok or anywhere else that is not making us feel good about ourselves? Maybe you're comparing yourself to other people who are in the same stage in your life and seem to be doing really, really well. Maybe they've lost weight and you haven't, and you're feeling really bad about yourself. Well, you know what? If you're spending a lot of time on Instagram and feeling rubbish about yourself, those are the accounts to unfollow. I follow quite a lot of nutrition accounts and they're supposed to be inspiring, but often they just make me feel like I'm not doing it, whatever it is, well enough. I'm not doing it properly, and that's not a good feeling. So it can be really a relief to say goodbye to those accounts that are not lifting you up. And it could also be something physical, like maybe did you decide to follow a diet plan that you printed out and put up somewhere visible on your fridge maybe, and then you haven't stuck to it? Is it, not relevant anymore? Do you need to throw it away? Or are there any beliefs deep inside that are making you feel bad about yourself? Maybe you think that you don't have any willpower, or you don't have the motivation, or you're getting behind, or you're off track. Those are the kind of beliefs that you can throw away at this time of year, because it's time to think about a new set of beliefs. And that's the third step. Is she called it Reignite, which I quite like the idea of, but just come back to yourself. This is the true reset. What can you do to make the second half of the year feel good for you? You don't need to reinvent yourself. You just need to think about a few changes, some small habits that you've been meaning to work on that can really make a difference, that can bring back a little bit of sense of yourself back into life again. So can you pick one small goal that feels really doable? Make it tiny, make it something really small. If you've been in my world, if you've joined me for a reset, you know that I'm all about the tiny changes, the small tweaks that add up over time. So you probably know that I think eating breakfast is really important, but when are you doing it? Are you usually rushing around before the school run and just kind of not having enough time for yourself? Or can you plan to eat breakfast every day before you go on the school run? Or does it need to be even smaller? Can you plan to have a glass of water next to your bedside so that as soon as you wake up, it's the first thing you do? Or do you need to stop drinking coffee by midday? So what is that one small change that you can make that is going to feel really doable, that is going to really light you up, that feels really achievable, that you can do without really having to make a huge change that is going to feel overwhelming? Is there a way that you can upgrade and elevate your day-to-day life right now? So for example, if your goal is to drink more water, can you buy yourself a new water bottle? Maybe it's something that you've had your eye on for a long time. Well, why don't you just buy it? Is it going to give you that motivation to drink the water that you have as your goal? Is it that you need a bit of support? Have you identified that you would like to achieve a particular goal when it comes to health and well-being? And just as a reminder, I will be running another reset in September, and that is a brilliant place to start with joining a group, because people always say that the WhatsApp group is just such a lovely supportive place for people, especially when they feel a bit intimidated when it comes to lifestyle changes as well. Or if you want to start planning your meals, do you need to get help? Do you need to get some help with some inspiration when it comes to meals, when it comes to dinner time? Anything that is going to help you achieve that goal a little bit more. And also, if you did unfollow a whole load of Instagram accounts that were not lifting you up, are there others that you can add in that are going to inspire you, that are particularly focused on your goals? So for example, I want to start running again. I achieved my sort of goal of getting to Couch to 5K back in January, and then I stopped running. So if running is my goal, well, what can I do to get back into that vibe? And listening to that podcast is one of them. So what are the things that you can do? Who are the people that you can surround yourself with that is going to elevate you, that's going to help you reach that goal a little bit? Remember, we are celebrating progress over perfection. We are not looking for the perfect goal or the perfect meal plan or the perfect diet or anything like that. We're just making small changes that are easy and doable. And honestly, this is what we do in the seasonal resets. We celebrate every tiny shift that has suddenly become a habit, things that we don't even realize have suddenly become a habit. And we're like, oh, yes, that's right. A year ago, I didn't do this thing every single day, and now I do. So remember, pick a small goal that feels really doable, and then make an upgrade that's going to make things feel easy for you to achieve that goal, and then celebrate your progress. Look back on it on a regular basis. This mid-year reset is about being intentional about the rest of the year, because quite often we might kind of have a goal or set some resolutions at the start of the year and they've petered out by now, and we think, well, what's the point? Well, there is a point. There's still 6 months left of the year. There is definitely a point to putting some focus on yourself and your well-being. Remember, it's not about doing everything, but doing one thing and getting it to become a habit. If you do need to do this with support and coaching in a really lovely community, then I really recommend that you join the next seasonal reset, which will be towards the end of September. I'll put a link in the show notes so you can join the waitlist. So you'll be the first to know about it, and you'll also get that early bird discount. We don't do pressure, we do support. And most people tell me afterwards that this is what surprised them more than anything, how much they really enjoyed the interaction in the WhatsApp group. And usually that community support and the chat continues long after the reset has actually finished. And if your focus for the second half of the year is to finally start meal planning and start making your dinners healthy, that you eat together as a family, that you stop feeling that pressure at dinner time to always produce meals to satisfy everyone, then I would love to help you. I post meal inspiration every single week over on the weekly table. Every Friday morning, you'll get it in your inbox and you'll get the recipes that feel doable and tasty as well. And it was a chance to put yourself first, to decide what you're going to cook that's going to satisfy you for a change. I hope that was helpful. I would love to know if you do this mid-year reset, if you spend a bit of time thinking about what you can do for the rest of the year that is going to upgrade your health, elevate your well-being. Let me know. You can send me a DM on Instagram and I will love to join the conversation with you. Otherwise, I will see you next week for another episode of Raising Healthy Mothers. Bye for now.